I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. Commitment to local government, commitment to local community, and like I said, especially when you're doing with farming. No kid nowadays wants to be a farmer. I don't know about your country, but we most definitely see it here. Kids don't want to be farmers, you know? They think it's silly. But if we can develop a model where they can be a 21st century contributor, like they can be like a farm during the day and a geek at night, you know? Or something that allowed them to see farming as a cool thing. And I always tell this story to the children. And you want to go to school, right? And they go, yes. And then you want to get the good job after your college, right? And they go, yes. And then, so you can get that job for 10 years, and then you're going to move up the ladder and become an executive, right? And they go, yes. And then after an executive, you do another 10 years of that, you might save enough money to start your own business, right? You say, yes, that's it. Yeah, and then you're going to start your own business, and you're going to do it all really well, and then you're going to save enough money, right? He said, yes. To do what? And they think, and they think. I said, how about own the farm that your father has right now? And they're like, yeah. Well, you just spent 30 years going through all that. When you technically, if you just took over dad's business, learned a little bit of technology, promoted through social media and other technological means, geek out at night, you can own this farm now. And then they go home, they think about it. They're like, you know? And if that doesn't convince them, I tell them the story, hey, you see all these people out here? You guys, you save all your money, work hard all year, so that way you can have 2 weeks in Bali to come and see what these kids are living like. So to me, if you have something really cool in farming and agro-tourism, teach your kids these values. Because if you don't teach this value and you send them away and you don't develop 21st century global citizen, well, they're going to have to go to the school to become 21st century global citizens. And when they go to school, the corporation is going to try to attract them. And the corporation, and then all the media, they're going to say, hey man, you don't want to be a farmer. Who wants to be a farmer? But technically, a farmer is really cool. You get your job done by 2 o'clock, you're stroking your rooster by the time the 5 o'clock hits, you got a good life. But you don't want that, because that's not a lifestyle anymore. You know, you gotta be able to have a lifestyle. So now we have to change that model. So if you wanted to like copy Pakatut and his model here, you don't have them. It's not about a bunch of business formula that match up with a bunch of services and ecological system. It's about changing their attitude, your children's attitude, about how cool it is to become agro-farmers or become ecological, sustainable people. You know, and that's a concept that we're still working in, and I'm going to share with you on some things that may give you some idea. So this is sustainable dynamic. So Pakatut does this really well. So he is, let's say he's a business. He's working how to tie it in with the government, how to tie it in with his community. He's working with NGOs like me to make sure that, hey, it's all human right proper. And then he's working with academia to make sure that, hey, this stuff gets regenerated. So all of this, what are the key? Well, I'm going to just go up here so I can point at it. So the way that you do it is that the fastest way to do it is through mutualism. Look at all your partners. Like, who's doing what? If they're already doing it, then it's easy to partner up. You don't need to own it, you know? If you own it, you do all the work. You get all the stress. But if you share it with your community, yeah, you don't get all the money, but then you get more time to play with your kids. And then, when you have this community, it's a lot easier to do. So mutualism is very important. Look at your community and see who's doing what you're doing, and then partner up. Because right now, the problem with sustainability and tourism is that tourism is economic based. It's a business. You want to make money. You want to compete. But sustainability is the complete opposite. We're trying to save the planet, guys. This sustainability is not just another buzzword for marketing, buzzword for another business economic model. We have a problem on the planet. We need to fix it. And we need all the tourism people because you have stake. So from there, you have to look at creative economics. How do we exchange? Because money equals time. Time needs people. So sometimes maybe I don't need to give you money, just having your time is equal money. Technically, I would rather you take my money than take my time. I'm sure all of you guys would figure that, right? I mean, once we become successful, we've got to take money. So right here, creative economics is a big part in this model. So he does this with the village people. Not the one that sings YMCA either. That's just it. And then active learning. Active learning is how do we, every process that we're doing, how do we share that information so it gets continued? So here's a perfect example. You're learning something from me, hopefully, a little bit anyway. Okay? If you do, then technically you can have my slide presentation. So it's digital, so I can email it to you, or you can go to my website and download it. So every process that you have inside your company, or your business, or your farm, or your has to be digital. So why? You can repeat it, you can share it. And then if you have an education system with children that also use digital, they regurgitate that and they share it to the next group of kids. I never show my curriculum to the second group of kids. I had the first group of kids show the second group of kids what they learned. And then it trickles down. So then that way, we're regenerating information after information so it doesn't get duplicated.
But the fact of the matter is, the hard way now we're living, the kind of sensitization that we are aiming at, because of these very market dynamics, the pushing of this, maybe we want to use the word, but the global capitalism on the side of the people, I don't think this is going to make much of an impact. Maybe a place like Bali, which is by and large isolated because of its island condition, but in mainlands like say main continents, we find it as a practical thing a very difficult proposition to go by these kind of ideas as a workable philosophy. Forget the practice.
And exactly, and that's why I started the thing with sustainable dynamics. Okay? The forces and property of each area. And that's why I apologize at the beginning telling you what works here, the sustainable dynamic here may not be the same sustainable dynamic as in Ho Chi Minh, okay? Or Thailand, or in India, or wherever you're at. But what we're trying to show you, otherwise we get too specific and too niche, too Bali, and you might look at this presentation and say, oh man, what the hell, we're not that. So what do I want you to, at least if you get away with anything, is to look at the meta, the bigger understanding of the dynamic. So you have to go back to that dynamic, and like to this slide right here, and you have to see how that dynamic works. So we realize that there's three components of the dynamic that doesn't change, the key dynamic. Okay? It doesn't matter where you're at. And even at the APEC level, when I was sitting on a board of all these military, high official military, double PhD, super geeky guys, they all say the same thing. It doesn't matter what system, services, and stuff, the one breakdown it has is when it comes to the human center. When you put the human variable in there, it doesn't matter if you have the perfect ecological system and the perfect ecological service and sustainable service. It doesn't add up when the people get thrown in. So one, I know I skipped this part because I thought I got way too geeky. And one is the human-centered design. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have to have a human-centered design. It doesn't matter what dynamic that is. Whether you're in a big city, you better look at how the people think. And if you don't know what that is, talk to me. I will give you workshops step by step on what that human-centered design is. Now we have some really good stuff out there in front of us. Two is evolutionary design model. How do you make a system that keep evolving? And if you look at an evolutionary design system, you'll be able to understand how this works. Now, a lot of monetary-based derivative is not evolutionary system, because all the money ends up in the guy that owns the business. So there's no evolution. I'm your boss. Do what I tell you. And if you don't like what I tell you, read rule number 1 again. Everything was perfect. Now it's changed. Now we can't live off the land. Now we need money to sustain. So one of my projects here is that it's called a cultural wealth collaboration. When I went to 4 different places in Bali, from high wetland, low wetland, middle wetland, and look at how to create full eco. So and then I went and took a bunch of orphan kids that couldn't even, they're too old to be adopted. Technically they got trade school or the street. So I 8 orphan kids, and I brought them to Pak Tony, he's not here, but then, and I'm also working with Pak Tut to come here to make the zone completely sustainable so they can live on. You should try this in your country, whatever, because if those kids can sustain off of the land, and those kids are very creative, okay? I'm telling you one thing that we can learn from orphan kids, when you lose your parents, you're forced to be creative. Okay? Because the love is gone. And when the love is gone, you gotta be creative. So this is one of the projects I'm working on. And then the other one is, okay, this is a regional project in Bolelang. And the last project is Bali Not For Sale. Okay, since you guys are doing tourism, the moment that you start doing tourism and you start doing like, to promote your country to be a good destination, guess what? Everybody and their mother is gonna come and live in your place. And they're gonna have more money than you. And they're gonna buy you up. And that's what's happened to Bali. We're being bought up. So you've got to have a program to be able to save the Bali land, to give the farmer an incentive to keep their land, to use permaculture and polyculture to save their land, make money off of tourism. And like I said, all this I'm willing to give you for completely free. We want you to have it. Because we're in sustainability business. We're not in the business of tourism. So I want to end my talk because I want you guys to get out there and enjoy the walk in the rain, before the rain, I mean. And then if you have any question, I'll tag along and then you can throw those questions at me.